Hey everyone, welcome back to JB's Budget Collecting and Cash or Trash. It still exists. Hang on, I got the wedge against my chair here. Get where I want to be. Cash or Trash does still exist. The last couple weeks, life kind of got in the way and I didn't get it done. And now, with Tom's apparent new schedule for this, at this point, it's a new schedule because it's been going on all year. I guess we're doing this on Mondays, which is not really super convenient for me, but this is where we're at least at the moment. If I continue with the list I've always broke down, we're looking at probably Monday, at least for a while. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, we're back after a couple weeks off, doing Cash or Trash. We got 16 books to talk about this week. We got a bunch of people popping in the chat. We got GTT. What is going on? He was tailgating, as was the Pie Face, crying because it was too late for him. I'm sorry, my friend. I am sorry. Deep House, what is up? What is happening? I'm really going to be having work stuff, so he may or may not. We'll see. I think Mondays are a little tougher for him than most nights. Bascula, I can't speak, so I'm just going to say, let's get it. Let's go. We're ready. Aaron, what is going on? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how many dumpster fires we got. On his vacation still, which is excellent. I would say. I started to say. Yeah. Let's see. That's what's going on. 32 books? No, we don't have 32 books to cover, thankfully. So I finally swapped out my background the other day and put a whole bunch of books away. And end of this week, I'm going to be gone for a few days. So I just didn't bother putting on a new display. I was going to have to take back down. So by next weekend, we'll have, once I start doing videos for next weekend, we'll have a background. So yeah. Salutations, Lee. Salutations. So that looks like everybody so far that has popped in here, I've at least said hello to. For anyone who is new to the channel, what is Cash or Trash? It is, so on Saturdays, we do our 6-month look back. We look back at the hot books from 6 months ago and see how they performed in the market since, and, evaluate what we should have been patient on, that kind of stuff. Cash or Trash is where we look at the hot books of the moment, although we're a little further away from the moment than we used to be by doing it on a Monday. And we make predictions sure to go wrong. That's really what it's about. All Silver Surfer 53, since I have none of those. Sure. All my Silver Surfer 53s are right there. they're all in the background. So yeah, we're so we're making predictions sure to go wrong. So how do I do this? So I make predictions for the 6 months when we do the look back, what I think is going to happen to the hot books this week in 6 months. And it's really based on, I throw them into categories, and those categories are straight cash, how many books I think are going to continue to climb in value over the next 6 months, despite whatever the reason is they're hot at the moment. They're going to continue to be good. A lot of times when we talk straight cash, though, we're really talking about a book that may even come down in 6 months, but long term it's straight cash, so you're okay, even investing, even though maybe you could get a better deal in 6 months. Worth it. These are books that are priced about right. They're going to go, this is a value that's pretty close. You might gain a little bit if you over the next 6 months. You might be better off buying it right now. But yeah, they're pretty close to about the right price. We got our All Be Backs, the flip side of that coin. Yeah, they're not way overpriced, but if you're patient, you can definitely find a deal if you're patient over the next few months. We got our It's a Trap. These are books that are going to drop 30, 40, 50%. We get a bunch of these every week. And yeah, these are books that are popping on the list, that are going for crazy values right now because of some sort of news or a movie or something is happening at the moment, and they are just not going to hold that value. They're the new hot cover of the week that 6 months from now people won't even remember exists. Something along those lines. And then finally, we got our dumpster fires. These are books that are going to drop 60, 70, 80% a week or percent over the next 6 months. We have a couple of these every week. Also, yeah, it's just books that are way, way overpriced they don't really carry a lot of actual value usually, but there's something that's making people want them at the moment, but it will not last. And then we have a few other categories we'll throw these books into, but those are the main ones. Building a cool custom background. So side thing, I've been supposed to move from this space to another space that would have a different background and everything else, and like a more permanent background for like 2 years. And because life keeps kicking me in the rear, I haven't been able to finish that space up. Instead, and I'm not going to finish it this year either because I just put a roof on the house. So that money keeps getting taken for other things. I'm close, but I'm still not far enough along to move to my new space. So yeah. So there you go. All right. So let's get into these books and see what we can learn about what was going on 6 months ago. Wait, I have not 6 months. What's happening this week? Brain is fried. All right. First up, we have Legend of Zelda #3. From 1990, and this has almost everything to do with A, there's a new game coming out, but B, people are specking that with the success of the Mario movie that we're gonna get Zelda at some point. And I am not anywhere close to Indy, unfortunately. So I'm a long way from Indy. Hey, Cartridge, what's going on? I am not, but here's the weird thing about this one. So this book's going $30-$40. A 9.8 hit $800, which for some of these early Valiant stuff, like getting a 9.8 is pretty tough. Like in this book or just any of these books, they don't hold up very well. But why #3? Why not #1? Why is #3 the hot one? There's no real first here. It's literally just a little harder to find the #1. And it has probably the best or second best cover in this little run. When they did Zelda books back then, that's it. And for some reason, this is going for crazy prices. I don't understand it. I mean, I guess it probably will sustain, but to me, there's no first appearance here. There's no real news that says, "Hey, we're getting a Zelda movie." We might. I know they're talking about that. Oh, they could have a Nintendo verse with the success of that Super Mario thing. But if it happens, we're years out. To me, this is absolutely a dumpster fire. Maybe it's not that going to drop that much, but I don't. There's nothing here to sustain this other than it's a cover and it's kind of hard to get. I think the #1 building stupid to me. Well, that would also require money, which I don't have at the moment because I put a roof on my house. But I appreciate your enthusiasm, Aaron, and wanting to help me out because my background is kind of lame. And I definitely need to improve it. But this is where we're at. All right, next we got after Zelda. Hang on here, I gotta do a little adjustment because nope, that's not what I want. What is happening? Hang on. There we go. Thank you. Next, we got something epic #1. This is the Szymon Kudranski, one per store. New indie book that's got a little buzz. One per store, 40 to 75 for one per store. These is a consistent pattern here. These indies, there are always exceptions. Like if something's killing children, but the vast majority of indies and incentive covers on indies and stuff are one per stores turn into traps. They just do. This one, usually you think of a one per store, it's about a 1 in 25. So this one's going 40 to 75. So it's kind of that double to triple. That's not enough. On an indie, it's got to even be better almost. And there's got to be at least some sustainable buzz going here. And generally that just doesn't happen. This is an easy prediction as a trap. I've definitely been wrong, but for sure, yeah. So Zelda's passed. Zelda smelled. Yeah. Hey, Unruly. Glad you're here. Oh. They're rendering, right? So I can actually draw. Hey, given the way a lot of them draw hands, I guess they should be proud of it. So there you go. Next, we got Ghost Lore #1, the Jenny Frison 1 in 50. I love me some Jenny Frison. I am completely biased. But again, this is a indie that maybe has some buzz, maybe not. But it's a 1 in 50, only going for 60 to 80. It's a very common Frison style cover. I love Jenny Frison's art. I think she's a fantastic artist. But let's be real. Her range, her sweet spot are female faces and fairly close ups like this. And she does a ton of these either in profile or right on. The ghost hands are kind of cool, but this series again would need to hit 60 to 80 on a 1 in 50. Just no matter what, tells you trap. It's just the way it is. I don't like saying trap with Jenny Frison, but that's just the way it is. I try to keep my biases. And really says bland for her. Yeah, the book itself has to be important, has to matter, and that cover is not. That is not so tremendous for Frison that it's a fairly common Frison cover. So that means it's all about it's about the book. And I don't think it matters enough. Hey, GTK is back. I get it. Like a lot of people knock her art and I get the complaints. I get that it's fairly standard, that she doesn't take a lot of chances, she doesn't do a lot of different things, that her faces are, while beautiful, are not always that different. I mean, that could easily be a Kitty Pryde cover, that could easily be like multiple different characters. I get the complaints. I still love it, but I can acknowledge where her weaknesses too. So and this one just is not a standout for me in a way that, or a character that I think makes it last. Nice. Well, hopefully it's good, but it's gonna have to be really, it has to be more than good. It has to be. That's the thing about indies. Like when you get these indie covers for #1s, it's not just the indie has to be good. It has to create and sustain a buzz within the community that make people chase it at a level beyond what it's available. It can't just be like, oh, I read this, it was good, you should go back and read it, because a lot of people just go back and get the trade. People have to want those issues, and that's really hard for an indie to get. And it usually takes some sort of crossover TV show, something. It's pretty rare unless there's something else going on. Yeah, she took more chances, I think, earlier than she seems to now, for sure. And I love those early Vampy and Sony covers. Those are amazing. Next, we got the Rocketeer. Planes, Dames, and Rockets. This is a Kickstarter. This is the Adam Hughes cover you could get via the Kickstarter. I don't know a whole lot about this, but it's going raw copies 120 to 130. It's obviously some sort of Kickstarter, so there is a limited nature to this, but there's fairly a few of them listed. It's not like there's like one or two listed. There's several listed. There's several sales. I put this as an I'll be back. I don't think it's enough of a sorry, get to where I'm going here. Where's my I'll be? There's my I'll be back. I would put this as I'll be back because I don't think it's enough of a standout as a huge cover or as just a Rocketeer cover to really sustain it long term. Yeah, light clean the trap. Yeah. Yes, I would agree with that completely, Mr. Rayman. So she does a little bit of both. Like she does traditional lines, but all her shading and like all that stuff she does digitally after the fact. So yeah, it is nice to see the character. There you go. And this is a Kickstarter for a new series, and so maybe it has a little more legs. I put this as an I'll be back. I don't think it sustains these kind of prices. This plus $100 prices. Next, we got DC Dawn of DC, Night Terrors, Free Comic Book Day, foil variant. So we're doing variants on Free Comic Book Day books now, which I think actually they've done before, but that just finds that annoying. Actually, I know DC has done variants on Free Comic Book Days before, but it's still like, But I literally, my note here says, "Can I roll my eyes harder?" I don't know what's going on with this Night of Terrors event, and I literally don't care. I have no interest. So that's probably, but this foil, $20 to $30 on a Free Comic Book Day variant is really, really good. You don't see Free Comic Book Days books go this much, but very often. But there have been a couple over the year DC ones that have done pretty well, and none of them have held at all. I don't believe there's a first. At least it doesn't. Nothing I found mentioned the first appearance. You guys can correct me. Yeah, dang, already got. Yeah, it does start with pencils. Like she does pencils, but then she digitally colors for sure. And I don't know about all the shading, grayscale stuff. I think she does some of that digitally too. Yeah. It's not even a revamp. It's an event that's going for like a month, and it's taking over all the titles in July, and I don't care. I really don't care. It's like an event. It's like not a restart the universe event. It's just an event. So yeah, nothing that's gonna hold value. I put this as at 20 to 30. I'm going to change it. I don't think this is a trap. I think it's a $10 to $15 book at the most, and which would make it a trap and not an I'll be back, which is what I originally wrote down. So we're changing that in my notes to trap. All right, next we got a David Aja 1 and 25 Star Wars: The High Republic number 9, 1 and 25 going 50 to 75. I'm a big David Aja fan. I love his like a little more simplistic style. I'm a big High Republic fan, but we're gonna follow the rules on this one. 1 in 25 going for between double and triple ratio usually means it ends up between ratio. Actually, it usually just under double. It usually settles in that like 40-ish range on a 1 in 25. So if it doesn't get above 75, it's usually going to be like that $35 to $50 range. So it's going to be just under double ratio. We'll put this as an I'll be back because we're going to follow the rules in our discussion here. Another event is worse. Yeah. I like this character. She, like, of the two Jedi this book is focused on, she is the more interesting to me, although she's gotten less. The book's clearly focused on the dude, but she is more like his character doesn't do as much for me as her. I think her character is more interesting, but that's just me. All right. Next, we got another 1 in 25. We got David Nakayama with his Silk number 1, 1 in 25. And I will say I love that cover. I'm not a huge Nakayama fan. I like David Nakayama, but he's a little hit and miss for me. I know my friend John is a massive David Nakayama fan. This is a 1 in 25 that basically part of what's going on here is this one was solicited incorrectly. Like people didn't have the right cover. They didn't know what the cover was going to be. So this is kind of the Hellfire. It's not technically a Hellfire cover, but it's kind of Hellfire Gala style. Her dressed up in a dress. She's clearly made from her webs, which if you remember her original costume, she just made from webs. So this is before she got like a real costume. Clearly this is what's inspiring that. But this 1 in 25 is 35 to 60. So it's between ratio and double with just a few sales over double. That usually means that book's going to end up around ratio, which means it's actually like, I think this one has a chance to buck that trend. I should probably call it a trap if I strictly follow the rules. I'm going to say, and I'll be back on this one because I do think it has enough. There's probably a few, and this one's not a huge order. I like this book, man. There you go. Mr. Rayman actually got this cover. I think this one holds a little better, but not great. So I think it's an I'll be back. I don't think it falls back as far as a typical 1 in 25 going for these prices would. just because there was a little bit of a mess up, so there's probably not as many of them as people think. But yeah, it's still an I'll be back for sure. Next, yeah, we got Invincible Iron Man number, what is this? Number 4, the Arthur Adams second print. So this is a second print, 1 in 25. And I am having issues here with my computer for a second. Sorry. And this thing is going, this is another 1 in 25, second print, going for 45. So this one I am following the rules on. This one's not even making double ratio, whereas the silk one was at least had a few sales going over double. Not making double ratio on a 1 in 25 means it's going to be ratio or below, and that means it's a trap. That's, yeah. Just is. So if you got one, I would probably try to move it now. Nah, like I'm keeping it. I don't care what comes down. There you go. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's oh, D-Bounce is telling you to flip it. Actually, well, I like it. I wouldn't mind having it. It's a trap. What's going on, Dwayne? I would agree with that. This is not bad for Adams. I'm not a huge Arthur Adams fan. He is very hit or miss for me, with mostly misses. But yeah, this is not. But this is actually not bad for him. But yeah, I don't think it really does anything. Yeah. All right, next. Where are we at? We are okay. So I guess there's some debate about whether this was actually supposed to be a free comic book day book or not. It's like a promo book for the second Spider-Man game for Spider-Man 2. And so a lot of places were giving them away on free comic book day or handing them out. It's got the first appearance of Hood, who's a character that's going to be in the game and is some sort of villain, I think. Raw copies on this thing are going 15 to 30. And I remember when the books with this guy on it and how much that was going for back in the day and everything else. And you know what this book's turned into? Yeah. There'll be a lot of buzz. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know when the release date is on the game. The release date of the game could sustain this a little better than what I think. But I'll be very surprised if this is still $15 to $30. My guess is this is like $5 to $15 in 6 months. So only one of the shops you went to had one. So maybe it's going to be harder to find than I think. But I would still like the stuff related to the games have not previously, all the books that came out related to the first game did not hold. So I'd be very much surprised. That's what I'm basing this decision off of. I'll be very much surprised if this one does. Maybe it's hard enough to find if there's like only 1 of 5 shops had any by the time you got there. Maybe it's hard enough to find that it's not going to be, that it will hold better, but I would be surprised. All right, with that, everything else on here is MCU related in some way or not another. We got, most of these are Tom books. This is Doctor Strange, The Last Days of Magic, number 1. The first appearance of the Woo, which is Alice Gulliver, who is like a cop that uses magic. And this is a character that is rumored for Agatha, for the Agatha show. Only doing $3 to $12 for raw copies. A 9.8 went for $35. This is kind of just what I mean. Realistically, with these prices, you could just put this as overall, I put it as technically in terms of price. I just put it and I'll be back. There's no reason to rush out and buy this right now when people are thinking about it. But so end of the year means even after the 6-month thing. So yeah, that's what they said. WU, not WOO, not Ric Flair woo, but but yeah, yeah, not woo, not that woo. So yeah, yes, you're correct. That is the first appearance of the Hood in that continuity, not in. The Hood is a character that has appeared before. So it's the first appearance of the game version of the Hood. That's another reason I don't think that other book will hold. And this is it's not going for that much, so I'm like, whatever. But it still would put it as an I'll be back and would not chase the stuck to shrink. But next we got a book that's never been on the list. Ghost Rider number 28. People just keep hoping this is gonna be something. First appearance of the Midnight Suns. First appearance of Lilith. A reminder that a couple weeks ago we had a Dracula book on here that was the first appearance of his daughter Lilith. These are two different characters, both of them related to the macabre. So there are two different Liliths. And this is basically people rumored that this is the Lilith we're going to get in Blade, not the other Lilith. Here's the thing. So this book is back to like 5 to 30, with most of the sales like 20 to 30, but there's some $5, $10, $15 sales in there. 9.8 are 90 to 130. Both of those are so far down from some of the other peaks this book has had. This book, dude, just wait a few months. And here's the thing with Lilith. Let's say she's coming to Blade. Blade is completely on hold right now because of the writer's strike. They can't start shooting yet. They were getting ready to start moving on this, but because of the writer's strike, it's not finished. They can't start. Yeah, this is not coming for a long time, even if it's coming. So the logo is, I mean, it's a cool visual book, but I would not pay big money for it. I think it puts itself on the street. There you go. Yeah. Hey, Grumpy Goose. I like the picture. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I would always be patient on this book. It's gonna fall, it's gonna rise. Just look for the dips, or look for the $10 or the dollar version. You can probably still find it. It's a back issues. There's a billion of these things. I would just be super patient. Next, we got X-Men 213. First cameo appearance of Mr. Sinister. And this is completely, a couple of reasons going on here, though this is back on the list. Rumors that, okay, sorry, there was like somebody on my street, like the windows there, I could see out there, somebody like stopped, and I wasn't sure what that car was doing, but they drove off. So this is a brilliant cover for sure. Cameo of Mr. Sinister, going for 25 right now. 9.8 to 250, which is still actually a little down on this book compared to some of the heights over the last couple of years. The animated shows get ready to come back. He's going to be a big part of that. Plus, because of the High Evolutionary was in Guardians, people think we're going to get Mr. Sinister, and there's no fire to that smoke. We've been talking about Mr. Sinister. We've been talking about the X-Men in the Marvel Universe for a long time. None of that's happening anytime soon, I don't think. And at least I don't think it has anything to do with High Evolutionary, because James Gunn just bailed. Like, High Evolutionary is dead. Like, if they come with Sinister, they're going to come with Sinister, but I wouldn't be chasing this right now. I would come back later on this one. I would be patient. It's a great book. Yeah, it's a great book, but it's a book I would be patient on right now. Like, I would never buy a book like this when it's hot. I would just look for the in-betweens, have it on your list, wait till you find a good deal. That's always how I chase a book like this. Next, we are going to move fully into the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So, if you haven't seen it yet, not this first book, but the next book has some spoilers. I should save that book for last. But anyway, first up, we do have first appearance of the High Evolutionary. He is the main villain of the Guardians movie. Raw copies right now. So this is one of those, again, where you cannot trust Tom sometimes in their prices. Average sales of $450. That's because on these old books, they just combine everything, and it makes no sense. Raw sales right now are 30 to 200 for the most part. I didn't really see a raw sale over 200 right now, at least in the last month or so. 9.4, 2,700, 9.6, 4,500. And this is absolutely great book. Still down from some of the heights that it's had, but it's an I'll be back. The movie just happened. Never, ever. Like, all of these books have a lull once the movie comes and goes. They just do. And usually 6 months is almost perfect for like hitting the middle of that lull. And then usually after a while, people start coming back to the book because they realize it's now underpriced. They come back to it. And then the book kind of goes back to where it should be. That's what's going to happen here with this book. Come back later. Yes, absolutely. Grumpy is saying this perfectly. It's a solid key. Long term, it's straight cash. But right now, because of the movie, it's a little too high for current values. And over the next 6 months to a year, if you're patient, you will be able to find a deal in the lull and get it for less. And that's what I would do with this stuff. Yeah, Silver Age Kirby, always gets it. Worth it. But I would just wait for an opportunity in a deal. Did aggressively come in? Did I miss aggressively? Oh no, totally agree. Not aggressive. I can't read apparently either tonight. So there you go. All right, this is the one book that's a little spoiler. So come back in like 30 minutes. Next, 30 minutes, like 3 minutes. Captain Marvel number 17, first appearance of Phi LaBelle. We did get the MCU version of Phi LaBelle in the post credits for Guardians 3. Raw copies 65 right now, 9.8, 250, 300. 2 weeks ago, this was $150 to $175 book for 9.8. My guess is in 6 months, it'll be that or less. It'll be back to where it belongs. This is a trap. Yeah, we've seen her. Yeah, we may get her going forward. Doesn't matter. Go look at the prices of what's happened to Riri's books. Go look at what's happened to Kate Bishop. Go look at what's happened to a ton of these other characters. Monica Rambeau, those books are way down. Yeah, no reason to chase this book right now. If you're interested in Phi LaBelle, we may get her. Well, I would guess we probably do get her in some projects going forward, but I would not chase this book. Again, just like the High Evolutionary, only I think more dramatically, whereas that's a book that's got enough legs and life to say it's an I'll be back. This to me is a trap. I think this is going to drop significantly, which significantly you're talking 20, you're talking 30, 40, 50% of this value. And I think that's where we're at. Yeah, if you got it for 50, I think that's not terrible. So that's on the low end. I think, yeah, you'll be able to get it for 40-ish, 40, 50. Number one in my heart. There you go. Thinks the cameo would be a better chase. It's going for similar. It's actually going for fairly similar prices. All right, next. The 2 Warlock books. This is the first one that we're going to talk about. Marvel Premiere number 1. First, when he gets the name Warlock, when he's given the name Warlock, raw copies 50 to 250, 9.4, 755, 9.8, $9,000 for reaching 9.8, which is crazy high considering the 9.4 is under 1,000. This is another one where the average was supposedly 450. Like I said, 50 to 250 on raw copies right now. And just like we just talked about with High Evolutionary, we just talked about with Phi LaBelle. We finally got him. I know there were some people disappointed. It was definitely not the version I think a lot of people wanted. I thought it was fine for the movie, but it's clear that James Gunn was including him because he was supposed to and not necessarily because he wanted to. And he said as much. And yeah, I think it shows up in the movie. I think that's probably one of the weakest things in Guardians 3, which I love, but and I think as a result, this is definitely an I'll be back. Also, you could almost borderline call this a trap, but we're going to get more, and we'll probably get a more true version going forward as other people work on it. But yeah, the movie just came out. Never buy it. The movie. He was checking for it. I don't need more. Lord, that's my man John. What's going on, sir? And then last but not least, we got the first appearance of him, or first cameo appearance of him. Technically, he's still in the cocoon here. So FF67, okay. Early FF with the first appearance is always always this. However, again, short term, 6 months, come back for it. Come back later. You're going to be able to get a better deal once we move away from the movie. If you buy it right now, 5 years from now, will you be okay? Yes. But 6 months from now, you would have been able to do better. And that's really where we're at on this one. Again, it's just because of the appearance. Yeah. Well, I think sometimes the narrative they're trying to tell, they make changes because they're telling a different narrative. They're not retelling the comics, and people get mad with that. So my screen went dark. Does anybody else not see me? I still see me. I would definitely, he's talking about the Marvel premiere. Yep, I would definitely stick to that. I would definitely stick. The FF and the Thor books are definitely, I think, the better of the books and have the better potential to relatively have a lower dip following the movie compared to that Marvel premiere, for sure. All right, that's it. We went through this fairly quickly. There was only 16. But I have some other stuff I actually need to get accomplished, so this worked out well. So yeah, let me remove that. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight on a Monday. I'm back. I don't know what happened with Darth. Hopefully nobody else lost me. So yeah, Unruly saying peace. So that's my sign. I'm getting out of here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me as always, and we will catch you next time. Later, everybody. Where's my outro? There it is.